Hello everybody and welcome to CMC Market Technical Insight Market Commentary. My name is Tamar Mehr from Trade with Precision, and today I want to take a look at a couple of US dollar crosses and some trading opportunities that I'm currently stocking, mainly on the higher time frames. So I want to start here with dollar yen, and I want to start with the monthly. Now on the monthly chart, if we zoom in a little bit, we can see this level. This is the area around the 105, and we can see 3 times we came down to that level, completely rejected it. But what I also like is that every time we moved slightly lower. So from this rejection, we went all the way up to around 114. From this rejection over here, around the 112, and from here, so far we went up to the 108. So it seems like we still have on the monthly chart some compressions of price. So on overall picture, we might come down and test this level again. And as we're pushing from that 105 level, we can see this here on the weekly. This is simply a pullback. We had some strong sell-off and now we're pulling back. Now a nice area to pull back to would be around the sell zone, that area between the 10 and the 20 moving averages around the 107. Now if we'll take a look here on the daily chart, we can see that the 107 has been some nice resistance here in the past for this move. We've got a week here and another week here. So let's just mark this level, take the line and put it right here on the 107. And what I'd like to add to this level as well is also the Fibonacci retracement. So from the latest move to the last low, and what we can see is that we are pretty close around this area to the 50% retracement. And also if we zoom out a bit, you can see we're pretty close to this previous swing lows as well. So that area, even a little bit higher into the sweet spot, is an area that I'm watching quite closely to see if we could potentially have the market reversing from this push higher and continuing the overall downtrend on the higher time frame. Now we're sitting here pretty close into that level. We do have a higher low and a lower high around this area, so I'm not looking for a potential opportunity right now. I'm looking to see how the market reacts to this level, because if we'll go down, let's say into the 2 hours, we can see that the market is somewhat in an uptrend. It's not a beautiful uptrend, but we're still pushing higher. And that works quite well with that move towards the level, that area of 50% and the area of 107. The next market that I like to take a look at is the pound versus the US. And we've seen some serious selling on the pound, all due to this Brexit uncertainty. And what I want to look at here is the levels that we reached on the monthly. You can see that quite clearly. It's the 1.2. It's a strong round number. We've been here before and we bounced off it, and we had a quite strong sell-off. So we also have some overextension here on the monthly, meaning that price is quite far away from the moving averages, the 10 and the 20, the sell zone. Looking here on the weekly, we can see that very strong sell-off over here. Now, I also like to add the Fibonacci retracement on this weekly move. So we'll take it from the last high into the low, and what we can see is that 50% retracement is sitting pretty close to this previous swing lows, this area around the 1.24. So if we'll mark this area, let's just do this here on the weekly, we can see this it's clustering quite nicely with the sell zone, that area between the 10 and the 20 moving averages. So a pullback into that area could be quite nice, but we are still further away from that area. If we'll take a look at the daily to assess, can we actually make a move toward that area? What we can spot is that we do have some divergence slightly coming in here on the lows on the RSI, but also much on the MACD. The MACD is quite flat, so that shows me we still have some weakness in the market. We do have a pullback here into the area around the 1.22. It's also the previous swing high here on the daily. We might push a little bit higher. We might see a rejection at that area, because this market is so weak, another way to catch up with the averages is also basically just going sideways until another waves of seller come in to be able to push the price below that 1.2. So I'll be looking for compressions of price around that 1.2, and I'll be looking for a breakout of that level. So potentially we might get a pullback into that 50%, but in this case I'm more bearish the pound, and I like to see a compressions of price toward the 1.2. A market that actually doing these compressions of price right now is the Aussie versus the US. So let's take a look here. So what we've got here on the monthly chart, we can see the market is gradually moving lower. It's not a sharp move as we've seen on the pound, but we still have a sell-off. We still have the bears in control of this market. Looking here on the weekly, let's just move here to the weekly. And what we can see is that we had a nice sell-off over here from the averages. We're pretty overextended, but we're not really pulling back at the moment. What we're doing is basically going sideways. We tried to go down to the 0.67, completely rejected. The market was not yet ready for these prices. But when we take a look at the daily, we see a better picture of what is going on here on this sideways action. And what we can spot that apart from this break towards a 67 and a complete rejection, we're basically just going sideways. So if I'll mark these levels over here, so this is approximately around the 0.67 and a half, and we also have the top area around here, around the 0.6820, around that area. And what we can spot here is that we're basically going sideways. We couldn't break higher. There's wicks to the top, and there's also wicks to the bottom. But we're starting to compress over here. So what I'd like to see, because the higher time frame are very bearish, but again a bit overextended, I'd like to see more compressions of price toward that area. I like to see the MACD and the RSI pushing lower as well, and I'll be looking for my opportunity on the lower time frame. So for example, if we'll go down into the 4 hours, I like to see the start of a new downtrend. We're currently sitting halfway in between that range. I want to see the market compressing with small candles toward this area 67 and a half, and then I like to take the market as a breakout if I get the MACD, the RSI all compressing down and pushing lower. If the market will move quite sharply from here down and break this level, then I'll be looking for a pullback to test this level from below. I'll be very careful with that pullback. I don't want to be caught up in a rejection of that break. So I'll be looking to the market to pull back into this area and give me a nice small bearish candle and some weakening coming back into the market, a green from the momentum indicators, to see that we're actually moving lower and not another rejection of that break. Happy trading everyone, and I'll speak to you soon.